Good morning, friends, and a very welcome to this place. I am Jitendra. I'll be your MC for this session. Mr. Vijay Paul, he'll be the host for the session. He is currently part of the EC of PMI Bangalore chapter, Director Volunteering. He has been a VP Finance and Relations with PMI Bangalore chapter earlier. Vijay has almost 30 years of experience in business strategy, product management, operational excellence, IT, healthcare. He is an SME. He will be the host for the session. Mr. Jessew Fewell, the person, he'll lead the session today, a writer, speaker, trainer in the business of technology management. Jessew Fewell is PMP, Certified Scrum Master, is the Managing Director for Offshore Agile Projects at Ripple Rock, India, founder of PMI Agile Community of Practice. In addition to speaking for Agile, Scrum and PMI Conference, he has wide experience in several sectors such as national security, aerospace, GIS, stock multimedia, telecom and hospitality. A graduate of Johns Hopkins University, he is a certified PMP, certified Scrum trainer and Innovation Games qualified instructor. The only person to hold this triple distinction. In fact, he is the only Innovation Games qualified instructor in India. Very welcome to all of you. I'll request Mr. Vijay to come and welcome Jessew.
Thanks, Jitendra. Very warm welcome to all of you and very good morning. It's been a great pleasure for us to be part of PMI National Conference being hosted by PMI Bangalore chapter. This is one of the perhaps the largest event which will unfold in the afternoon, and I really look forward to all of your participation in that. And also we are very thankful to you for registering as a delegates for this particular conference. One of the tradition which we have in Bangalore chapter has been that prior to any conference, we always have a special sessions of certain subject matter expertise and also certain areas of interest for a lot of our members and participants who come for our conferences. So we felt that as a need and as a kind of subject matter, Agile is one of the very important topic for us to really understand about and also understand as to how it can add value to all of us and all of our projects which are handling as project manager. And when we are looking at a person who could really conduct this session for us, for the community, no better person than Jessew we could really identify, because he's a person who is actually has done a lot of work in the Agile area, and you will see a lot of value created by Jessew by end of this session and afternoon, and hope that you will definitely enjoy his session. So I'd like to welcome Jessew to start the session, and from our organizing committee we like to facilitate Jessew. So Jessew, please, welcome you to the conference. Over to you, Jessew. All the best.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm done. I already have the gift. I can leave now. Good morning. I am very excited to be here. This is going to be quite an adventure. I'm hoping that you can see me, because I don't like to be up there. I like to move around and get to know some of you. So, hi, I'm Jessew. Ramkar. Omkar. And you are a project manager. Why is that so surprising? So we have a room full of project managers, and we're going to learn a lot of things today. But before we do, we need to have some expectations. We need to set some expectations. This is our kickoff meeting for this project, and in this kickoff meeting we have some ground rules. First, please turn off your mobiles. If your mobile rings, I will stop the workshop for you. We want to demonstrate some respect to our colleagues. A lot of our colleagues here have no experience with Agile and are very eager to learn something. So let's respect each other with that. Also, it's time for a little bit of exercise. Any of you have seen my workshops or my presentations before know that I only do a little bit of work. You do all the work. So let's start. I need the human bar chart. Anybody here who is a project manager, please stand. Stay where you are. Just stand up nicely. Okay. Those of you who are not a project manager, now you stand and the others sit. Okay. So maybe like 70, 80%, 20% distribution. Okay, so go ahead, take a seat. How many of you people here have Agile experience on a real project? Please stand. This could be 1 month experience. You just started. It could be 2 months experience, or it could be 2 years. Okay, again, maybe 80%, 20% distribution of those with some experience. And so that tells me that the rest of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Right? So thank you. Go ahead, please be seated. Now, that means that there's going to be a lot of questions. And in a project kickoff meeting, what we have to do is we have to set expectations. Because we're on a fixed budget and a fixed schedule for this project, correct? Right? How many of you would like it if I begin to have some delays on the execution of this project, that we should stay a little bit late, and then we would miss the keynote tonight from the president? How many of you think that would be a good idea? Oh, no, okay. A little bit louder. Okay. How many of you know how to say no properly? Have I taught any? Okay, another human bar chart. How many of you have ever seen me do a presentation or workshop before? Please stand. Okay. So who of you know the proper way to say no? Okay, so what's the proper way to say no? No. That's right. So, based on your new instructor, how many of you would like me to slip the schedule if I am delayed? No. Okay, and if we run into some delays, how many of you would like to be paying me extra money? No. Oh, okay, fixed schedule, fixed budget, I understand. So now what we have to do in our kickoff meeting, we have to have a family conversation about the scope of this project. Because fixed schedule, fixed budget, I'm sorry, I cannot do it all. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to spend about 2 minutes talking with your neighbor. So just talk with your neighbor, and I want you to identify about 2 or 3 things that you would like to learn this morning. And then we will share them. So 2 to 3 things that you would like to learn this morning and this afternoon. Discuss with your neighbor, and then we will share with the rest of the group, okay? I'm going to put this here for a moment. Okay, so we have some ladies who are going to walk around with some microphones, and we'd like to hear what some of your objectives are. Specifically, I would like to hear my success criteria, because I can deliver lots of features and then still have the customer say, no, it's not what I want. It's not what I want. Go back and do it all over again, no extra money and no extra time. So I want to avoid that. In the back, I have a hand, who has some things that they're ready to share? Over here. Okay, tell us your name and your current role at which company, and then 2 or 3 things.
All right. Good morning, everybody. This is Vish Didwanu. I'm a delivery manager with HTC Global Services. And the 2 things that myself and my colleague here, Mr. Raghavendra, would be interested in knowing out of this session is, one, Raghavendra is new to Agile methodology. I'm a little bit more familiar with it. He's interested in understanding how Agile would help in increasing the productivity of the projects. And from my side, the question is, we struggled with Agile methodology when the projects are done at 2 different geographical locations like on-site and offshore. It has always been a struggle. More of a waterfall project methodology has been more successful, and Agile has not been so successful.
Okay.
Those are the 2 things that we would like to discuss in this session.
Excellent. Let me write these down. And your name again? Vish. Thank you, Vish, for that. What I hear is one item around functional markers. One item around productivity. Another item around distributed teams. Okay, I need some more. Okay, up here in the front. Your name? Okay. Let's hear from you.
Good morning, friends. My name is Loka Balakrishnan. I work with UXL Information Technologies. I'm a technical manager there. I'm pretty new to Agile project management. Yeah, my requirement is like more basic than what our friends said. It's more like how exactly I plan for the project and like stick to the plan. It's kind of like...
Okay, so 2 things I hear. One, what is it?
Yeah.
And how does it work?
Exactly.
Yeah? Oh, that sounds like a good thing. So what we need is an overview. An overview of what is it and how does it work. Good?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pay attention. I'm going to have to pay better attention. Your name again is?
Loka Balakrishnan.
Lokapal. Thank you. Who's next? Over here.
Hi. Good morning, everybody. This is John from Aintree.
John.
My question to you is, so Agile, today it's a word which everybody wanted to add, I'm also part of it, or I am practicing it. So how much value addition it brings? What is the, productivity you have mentioned? What is the value?
What is the USP? What is what is the value proposition for
value
Agile?
proposition it can bring to my project? The number is not very clear. So we are all, going towards Agile. Just it is something different from the routine work.
Yeah.
Today we do not have a body where which can tell that this is the right way of doing Agile, and you can practice. For example, if you take in project management,
Thank you, John.
We have PM.
Thank you, John. We will accomplish this.
Thank you.
Okay. And up here? Oh, okay. Someone is already having a microphone. You know, we'll get to you guys. We will. Okay.
Hi, this is Fakhruddin Bandukwala from Tata Communications. I head the IT delivery there. Myself and my partner Balamurugan, we are pretty new to Agile, and as already stated, definitely would love to have an overview of Agile. More specifically, what are the advantages of Agile as compared to other project methodologies? And also a comparison with the alternatives, not just the traditional. Are there any other methodologies which can also serve other than Agile?
Let me think. A few years back, I took an exam issued by the Project Management Institute about a particular project management standard. Does anybody remember? Can anybody help me with this? Which one it might be? So let's say that, or let's not say in front of the speaker. PMBOK. Okay. Let's evaluate that. Let's take a look at it from that perspective. Now, these are my two most patient. Okay. Your name?
I'm Chandramukhi. I'm a freelance project management consultant. And most of the things have already been covered, except two things I want to know. And one is, what are the critical things that we have to keep in mind when we estimate a project which is using Agile?
Okay.
Because
and the other thing is?
I find that Agile estimation is slightly different from the rest.
It's dramatically different.
And how do we present the ROI to our management? Because I also find that the cost is definitely higher when we do Agile management vis-a-vis the rest. So this is my experience. I could be wrong. I could have followed some other methodology instead of actual Agile. So I would like to know about that.
Okay, I'm going to, so we have benefits versus cost. So we'll include that. But then I'm going to do this here. And then I'm going to say that we have a bonus item around estimation. Because it turns out that your handout and your agenda talk about these things already. Estimation, explaining Agile estimation, having you practice Agile estimation in a workshop takes half a day in itself. And so for the sake of this discussion, we're going to assume that Agile estimation or traditional estimation are both fundamentally wrong. Either way, it is wrong. How many of you have ever executed a project exactly 3,217 man hours? No. Right. So what we're going to assume is that both Agile estimation and traditional estimation are broken and not working, and instead focus on execution. If we have some time in the afternoon, we're going to, I'm going to have a Q&A session where I can give you a general overview of some key estimation concepts and principles that we can talk about. One more, and then we need to get started.
Good morning.
All right. We have a leader.
Myself Sanjeevini. I'm from Schneider Electric.
Your name again?
My name is Sanjeevini.
Sanjeevini.
And I'm working for Schneider Electric. So I have been into project.
Sanjeevini is the last one. Anyone else having a microphone? I'm so sorry.
Okay. My question is, when you are going from waterfall to agile, you really look for some metrics like time to market and cost variance. And when you are executing agile projects, what are the key performance indicators which you need to look for?
Okay. So what are the KPIs for an agile project?
Is there any indicator like TTM or CV for agile projects?
There, okay, so What I've done is I've put a marker that says for KPI, we will talk about that on the benefits and cost discussion. And then if we have some time, I can tell you what are the key metrics from an execution perspective, because that tells you that whether your project is on schedule or behind schedule. And then, but that turns out that that's not the most important KPI. The most important KPI is cash. Anna? Yeah. So these are some good success criteria. Now, what I would like you to do is that note that all of you have very important criteria, and what I want you to do is hold on to them. Keep them there, because these are my acceptance tests. At the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some of you to give me the answer to some of these things. So there will be an exam at the end of the session. If you have additional questions that you would like to be put on the additional scope, please write them on the form. And we have some papers that are being distributed to the tables over the course of the session. So please do write these down. If you do not fill out the change request form, I will not execute the change request. So keep that along the lines. Also, I'm going to ask that you keep an open mind. Some of these things are challenging, but at the same time, it can be deeply, deeply rewarding. So without any further ado, let's move into it. We only have 4 hours to go through material that's usually covered in 2 to 3 days. And what you have here is a list of batches where if you have some funding and you have some availability, you can go to a more proper, full, in-depth exposure to Agile concepts. The Certified Scrum Master program is for people who are just starting their Agile journey and need some techniques to do Agile, no experience required. And then the new PMI Agile certification program is intended to recognize your current experience. You already have 6, 8, 12 months of experience, and it's much broader in view. So those are the 2 programs that Ripple Rock encourages, and they're listed here. A little bit about myself. Yes, I've worked in government projects, and then also some commercial environments, and then went military, defense, and then also the Ministry of Human Resources at the United States government. Then I moved to a small consulting firm where I was working for NGOs, commercial, and for the last year I've been helping Tesco, which is the world's largest online grocery website. I've been helping them adopt Agile over the last year. Now, my claim to infamy is that I am an Agile person who founded the PMI Agile Community of Practice some 2 years back. It is PMI's formal organization dedicated to Agile project managers who have questions and problems and dialogue with each other. I'm also on the steering committee for the PMI Agile certification, and I am the only Innovation Games instructor in Asia. So these are my designations, and what it means is I have some problems. The Agile people are hating me because I'm a PMP. Now, let me tell you, what's the #1 worst problem? Some of you had Agile experience here. What's the worst problem on Agile projects? Just quickly, just shout it out.
After some time, I am Narendran from Integra Micro. After some time, this Agile projects become a nightmare for the project manager actually. How it
Bus,
no,
Bus, you have said it all.
Yeah.
All of you may now leave. That is the end.
So it just becomes a runaway train with no schedule control, no effort control, but at the end it gives a good output.
Wow. I'm going for something a little bit more specific, but generally what it is, you go on an Agile project and then you have somebody telling you, Oh, we are agile, we do this. Oh, we are agile, we don't do that. We are agile, da 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 da. I am an agile expert. The worst problem on agile projects are agile experts telling you, oh, we're agile now, no documentation, no planning, no architecture. I do what I want, go away. What? I don't have to give you an estimate. I'm agile. It will be done when it is done. And I have to tell them, okay, koi baat nahi. You will be paid when you are paid. That's right. Ye gore Hindi bolte hain. So, the agile people hate me because I'm a PMP, I'm a project manager, and then the PMI people hate me because I'm one of these agile people. So I have no home. And instead I'm here with you. It is difficult to cover both spectrums, and we're going to find out why that is. Our agenda today, we're going to have the crash course. We're going to spend about 45 minutes talking about it. And then at about 11:30 or so, we're going to start on an exercise. And when we talk about it, we are going to be looking at a definition, some mechanics, the relationship to the PMBOK. No one has a certification. Nobody's interested in certification? I think you are. And then we're going to do a group exercise where we see it in action. And then we'll take some lunch, and then you will tell me all the reasons why this will never work in your company, on your job. And then we will come back, and then we will make it work. We're going to do a full Agile project after lunch with proper Agile teams, and Agile project manager, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the agenda for today. Are you ready? Okay. Fasten your safety belts. Loosen up a little bit because here it comes. Who can tell me the most expensive city in the world in which to live? Tokyo. The graphic gave it away. Tokyo. Stop and think about it. This is a country that was completely destroyed 60 years ago. The only country to suffer a military nuclear attack. Nothing left. And fast forward a certain amount of years ahead, and there's a small family company that's invented a defect-proof fabric loom spindle. It is defect-proof. And how is that? Well, usually when the defect is there in the spindle, and you just ignore it and move on, and it's just no problem. But in this one, in this family business, when the spindle is coming, and then there's a wrinkle, it stops. And now the manager asks, why did this happen? Is this a design flaw? Is it a materials flaw? We're going to make some changes so this will never happen again. Meanwhile, the other people, they're just making fabric, making fabric, making fabric. And this approach became a revolution in management. It became a revolution in manufacturing, so much so that this family company, the Toyota company, started to move into manufacturing, into the automobile business, and was terrifying the West with this new management revolution that changed the way we do work in manufacturing and retail and a lot of other physical industries. And that revolution is called lean thinking. Lean thinking, if those of you who studied for PMP, you will recognize some of these concepts. But two core concepts, we have just in time and stop the line. Just in time and stop the line. Now, just in time, traditionally, I have bulk discount. I'm going to order 1 year of parts, bulk discount. And then we will do 1 year of work over some time. But I have all of these parts. Where do I put them? I need to put them in storage. So I have to pay rent on the storage. And then I have to pay security to make sure no one is stealing all of my parts. I've just spent all my bulk discount. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is I have 1 year of capital investment sitting in a warehouse doing nothing, not generating revenue, not even generating interest. And so the concept of just-in-time inventory is recognizing that doing, 1 year of requirements is a waste of effort. It's sitting, not doing anything. No software is being built for 1 year, only the documentation for 1 year. And the next concept is stop the line. Traditionally, if I'm on a production line and it's moving along very slowly, and then the team notices there's a defect, it's, oh, quick, fix the defect because it's going over to the next station. What is it? It's a rear view mirror. Okay, fix the rear view mirror. Okay, good? Okay, good. It's a good thing that we kept it going, fix the defect without stopping the process, because if we stop the process, we lose money. We lose money. We cannot stop the process unless you're these people. And they authorize the frontline worker, the most junior tester, authorize him to stop the entire company. He sees a defect, he looks at it and says, I haven't seen this before, I can fix it, but I don't know why this happened. I'm authorized to stop the entire company, I'm a fresher. And I've been working on this maybe 1 year or something, and I know what it is, and I'm going to push the button to stop the entire factory. Boom. Now we are losing thousands of dollars, millions of dollars every second. Why? Because we're going to stop and ask, how did this happen? So that it never happens again. And this is the beginning of root cause analysis. Continuous process improvement, Kaizen. And building a new system that prevents the mistake that happened before. You should never see the same. How many of you are in IT? How many of you have seen the same bug come across your desk more than once? Yes. Stop that. Mistake-proof your system so that that bug never happens again. And these lean concepts were fantastic. They revolutionized management, and that management revolution came into IT during the 80s and 90s as a wave of process improvements. Methodologies like total quality management, methodologies like Six Sigma, ISO 9000, CMMI. How many of you have experience working on these methodologies, environments that using these? Okay, so keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now, would you characterize? I need a microphone. Would you characterize these as lean methodologies? Why?
My experience has been with Six Sigma, basically working as a consultant at a manufacturing company. And they're lean for me because when you're looking at a DMAC, you don't spend a penny until you're implementing.
You don't do the planning until you were doing the implementing?
You're not, yeah, you're doing the planning, measuring and all that, but you're spending on actual cost, the materials and all, only when you're implementing. Until then, you're doing all the planning.
Okay. So he thinks Six Sigma, CMMI, ISO 9000 are lean methodologies. Would you agree with that? Okay.
It kind of adds overhead to the existing process.
Overhead? What kind of overhead?
It's
Anybody see overhead with this? No? Yes? No? Yes? Wait, is it a trick question? What's the right answer? Tell me so I can tell you. Is overhead? What kind of overhead? Documentation, process, and expensive consultants.
exactly.
Lots of overhead with these lean methodologies. If you want to be CMMI level 5, it will be taking you a lot of money. A lot of money. And what's the ROI on that? That's easy. Contracts. American clients. That's the ROI. I don't care how much it costs. So imagine in the 80s and 90s, these lean methodologies coming out and say, oh, we're going to be lean. Less waste. Quick, fill out this 200-page document that no one will read except the auditor. No waste here. And so there was a backlash, a revolution to the revolution. And the revolution to the revolution was a series of IT thought leaders in the developed world who said, you know, I'm not going to do these. Instead, I'm going to be using my lightweight methodology, which is called extreme programming. And then his friend is, he says, oh, that sounds interesting, because I have a lightweight methodology too. It is called feature-driven development. And then another one, oh, tell me about yours, because I have one, it is called Scrum. And a lot of these IT thought leaders in the 90s, they came together and they started to share ideas. What is it about your lightweight methodology, and how is it lean or not lean? Because this lean is driving me crazy. And they came together in February of 2001 and formed the official definition of Agile. So, do you want to know, do you want to hear the official definition of Agile? All right, let me try this again. You're going to the project and people, your CIO says, oh, everyone will be doing Agile. Here's the Agile expert. And he's telling you, no documentation, no planning, no architecture, no estimates, Agile. And you have nothing to say to challenge him. Okay, so tell me, would you like to know the official definition, not the expert definition, the official definition of Agile? Yes. Here it is. The website, agilemanifesto.org. And here it is. People matter more than process. So deliverables matter more than documentation. Collaboration matters more than contracts. Responding to change matters more than performing to plan. That's it. That's all it is. Now, when I first looked at this, I said, okay, I get it. It's inspirational, but it's not real, right? I mean, this can make me excited about going to the office in the morning, but then as soon as I go to the office, this is what happens. So what's going on here? I mean, our customers are are asking us as project leaders, our customers are asking us to find talented people to produce actual deliverables based on a positive working relationship with our clients and our stakeholders that addresses the current need and not the need that was documented 1 year back. I get that. That's what, in many ways, that's what we were paid to do. On the other hand, when I went to MBA school, when I went to boot camp, when I took my PMP exam, I learned about processes and tools. I learned about project plans, quality management plans, fixed price, cost reimbursable, and then the execution plan, the roadmap, and I learned about all of these tools, techniques, contracts, plans that I have to use. This is what I'm trained to do. In short, there is a gap between what we are paid to do as project managers and what we are trained to do as project managers. Do you see that gap? That is the #1 reason for the tension between a traditional approach and an agile approach. And that is why you have two different sides of the argument yelling at each other. One person is saying we should only do the happy things, and the other person says we should only do the technical things. But what the Agile Manifesto says is, hold on, yes, these things are generating value, and they are good, but these things also have value. You cannot do business in the real world without process and tools. One process that is very effective is payroll. I like this process. I would like it done more often. I also need some tools. I need some tools like email. I cannot do my job without email. Documentation. I don't know very many engineers who will actually start working on something without you telling them what it is they need to build. How can you do any work without knowing what work you're supposed to do? Likewise, a handshake on a business agreement is no longer sufficient. So we have invented the court system. Because the Supreme Court is there, then we know that we can hold you accountable to the business agreement with the contract. Anybody here would like to do business strictly on word of mouth? Especially if our terms and conditions is net 30 and you haven't paid me in 6 months. Where's my money? It's about the money. We'll get to that later. And then performing to plan, I don't know any executive, any client, anybody who has money who's willing to give you money unless you have a plan about how you are going to spend that money and give them a return. You need to have a plan to articulate this. So you cannot do business in the real world without these things, Agile expert. But you should only do these things as a means to an end to make these things happen. This is where the value happens, and this is where the real world happens. And we want to use these things so that the good things happen. Now, this is nice, and it's fluffy, and it makes me feel good inside, but tell me what to do. Can you just, Mr. Agile expert, Agile Manifesto, can you just tell me what to do? And so there, in your notes, there are 12 principles that can help you change your management processes today. You can go back to the office and tailor your proprietary SDLC, tailor your rational unified process, tailor your CMMI guidelines with these principles, still be compliant, and be agile at the same time. Let's take a look at some of them. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer, not the PMO director. Yeah, it's funny because it's true. Welcome changing requirements. Change is not risk, ladies and gentlemen. Change is reality. If you, any of you are familiar with Maratali? Anybody here know anybody from that? No? All right. So we have one Bangalorean here. Some years back, it was the worst place to be traveling on a Saturday, Sunday night because everyone is going through the outer ring road. And now there's a flyover. And now with that flyover, things are different, things are better, some things are worse. But there was change. And now in India, there are flyovers every 100 meters coming all over the place. Change is not risk, change is reality. So if you had a project management plan about how to get to the office from home on your two-wheeler, well, in 2 months' time, that project plan is no longer valid. Deliver working software frequently. How many of you in this room have absolutely do not work with IT in any way, shape, or form? How many of you are not involved in IT at all? Okay, so I just want to give you an advance notice that this talk and my presentation is very heavily slanted towards IT. Agile concepts, much like lean concepts, are applicable outside of IT, whether it's learning and development, whether it is public utilities projects, whether it is managing the local temple. All of these are examples of Agile projects outside of IT, but we will not be talking so much of that. Ask me during lunch. But deliver working software. What are your deliverables that the client is actually paying you to deliver, and deliver them frequently, as often as possible? Agile myth number 1, Agile is all about the engineers, for the engineers, by the engineers. Leave them alone, and magically the work will happen. No. Here it is, right here, Mr. Agile expert. Business and technical people work together every single day. So, I know you don't like to talk to those business people, Mr. Engineer, but if you don't, you're not agile. I want you to learn this phrase. You're not agile. Sablog, satsabolo. You're not. God, come on. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and who do we say? We say this to the Agile experts. This, okay, well, what's the next one? Agile myth number 2. Agile is only for senior resources. We cannot be trusting these junior resources to be self-organizing. They will make mistakes and destroy the company. Actually, it's not about junior or senior. It's about motivated. Best resource I ever had was a fresher. Straight out of university, was very hungry. Very hungry. He wanted to learn. He wanted to contribute. He wanted to have some value to the project. So on weekends, he would type up a prototype. He would read a new book, and he would come and say, Jesse, look, this is behavior-driven development. Ooh, aspect-oriented programming. And I would look at this and I would be very impressed and say, we have no use of this at all in the project. But I like it. Go back to work. And the senior resource, 15 years of experience, he would come in. Log out and go home. Motivated individuals. Face-to-face conversation is the best form of communication. How many of you have sent an email you wish you could take back? You can admit, yeah. So when you have face-to-face conversation, as I'm explaining that, oh, those engineers are so upset, no quality, no anything, and then I can see in your face that I'm offending you because I just realized that you're the engineering manager. I can just, oh, no, I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about the other team. There's no problem. Real-time process improvement. Face-to-face conversation. Working software is the measure of progress, not a progress report. Sustainable pace. Innovation does not happen when you are tired. And I know as managers, we have been taught that the primary management technique to improve productivity is jaldi karo. You people are lazy. Work harder, work faster. More overtime. Is that the only thing we add value? I spent so many years in MBA school and PMP training and PM training. I memorized the PMBOK, and the only value I have is to yell at people. No. Innovation does not happen when you're tired. Agile myth number 3, Agile means no architecture, no design. Look, Mr. Agile expert right here. This is the sutra, this is the Bhagavad Gita, the Quran. This is the Holy Scripture. It says, technical excellence and good design enhance agility. So you better go write me an architectural specification. Simplicity, on the other hand, no over-engineering. No under-engineering, no over-engineering. Just right. That is hard to do, by the way, because everyone has an opinion. What is over-engineering, what is under-engineering? And now you have to actually have a conversation and resolve some conflict. Self-organizing teams are the ones that generate the best results. Innovation does not happen under compliance. Generally speaking, the organization that we most look up to when it comes to compliance is the military. Would you say? This is you trained and disciplined in compliance with orders. Would you say that the average soldier is an example of good innovation? Adapt under certain circumstances. But generally speaking, are you trained to be adapting in all circumstances? So today, I don't want to do physical training. I'm going to adapt and sleep in. Right, within specific boundaries, right? Compliance. No, we want innovators who are willing to break the rules, even if it means they would be killed. Okay, and then finally, good is not enough. Good is not enough. See him in my level 5? Baka. Plus. I am now the best. I do not need to read any more books. I do not need to do any more process improvement. I am seeing my level 5. No. You have to keep getting better so that you can compete. So these are the key principles of Agile project management. There's another document, much lesser known, which is also a good resource for you. PMDOI, the Project Management Declaration of Interdependence. This is a pun on the American Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Interdependence about project management says, we are going to increase ROI by focusing on flow of value. We're going to have reliable results by engaging customers, manage uncertainty with iterations, anticipation, and adaptation, unleash creativity and innovation by recognizing individuals and harnessing their talent, boosting performance with group accountability. Now, there's no one to blame except me. Before, I could just blame the manager. Before, I could just blame the requirements engineer. Before, I could always blame the other department. Not anymore. Now, everyone is accountable. Improve effectiveness and reliability with customized strategies. There is no formula. There is no formula. There are only the principles and the guidelines, and then you have to tailor a specific implementation to your specific situation. You have to think. As a project manager, I'm not sure if you remember, but in the PMBOK, there's a thing called tailoring. Tailor. There is no formula. You have to adapt along the way. Now, there are a number of buzzwords. You will hear about this test-driven development. You will hear about automated acceptance tests. You will hear about Scrum Masters and sprints. You will hear about retrospectives. What is a retrospective? You will hear all these buzzwords. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about them. Every buzzword is based on the Agile Manifesto. It is some implementation of the face-to-face conversation, some implementation of self-organizing teams, some implementation of technical excellence. And so when it comes to a buzzword, simply write it down during the meeting, and then leave, and then read the definition on Wikipedia of what this is, with the understanding that it is based on the Agile Manifesto. So don't worry about the buzzwords. They matter less than the manifesto, because the manifesto is what is the basis for all of this. Another key concept, iterative and incremental. A non-technology example. Let us say I'm Leonardo da Vinci. I know exactly the painting I have in mind, detailed colors, detailed specs. All I need to do is break it into phases. We know this as project managers. Increment 1, increment 2, increment 3. Phase 1, 2, 3, a little bit more, done. Iterative, however, is an approach where we don't have the details. How many of you have been frustrated that your clients are telling you to start work and you don't have any detailed requirements? Yes, that's called the real world. You will never have the detailed requirements. I'm sorry. Because that means that your customers actually have to know what they want. Have you ever heard this? I don't know what I want, but I'll know it when I see it. Icky-wissy. Icky-wissy, icky-wissy, icky-wissy. I know it when I see it. You've heard WYSIWYG? Yeah, what you see is what you get. Now you have another one, icky-wissy. Yeah, put that on your car's bumper sticker. And then you go. Okay, but now I only have a concept. This is a concept of what I want, and I don't know how to begin going forward. So what am I going to, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do a wireframe. And then that wireframe is a deliverable to the customer. It adds value, it adds understanding, it creates collaboration and innovation. And then we have some more detailed feedback and we create a prototype. More feedback, more information, and then finally we can execute on the final product. But what's most powerful is if you use both of these techniques at the same time. So if your project plan has iteration 1 or phase 1 where you're doing a wireframe for the first increment only, and then in the second one you begin to add the detail, but now you're doing a mock-up for the second part of the increment. And you are having what's called rolling wave planning. Progressive elaboration, 2 terms in the PMBOK, by the way, where you learn more about the project as you move along because you're doing ongoing feedback sessions with your customer and improving the product specifications along the way. One of the key lessons that I talk about is with Agile project management, you're taking a large project and making it much smaller into the first iteration, the first increment. If I have a project of 12 months, and now I'm bringing it down to a 1-month increment, a 1-month iteration, that is 10x delivery time. Now, you can imagine that's going to cause some problems. The problem is that over here, I don't have to think so much about architecture, I have a year. I don't have to get started right away on that module, I have a year. And there's a concept called the Parkinson's Law. Parkinson's Law, which states that any work will consume the time that it is given to it, no matter how much the time. This is why doubling the estimate does not help. If you double the estimate, I will double my surfing on Facebook. I have so much of time. On the other hand, so when I bring all of this down, I compress it, all of the project complexities, all of the internal conflicts, the team conflicts, all of the politics, all of the engineering problems down to one 30-day cycle, all of the dirt starts to come to the surface. These are called risks, project risks. And before we had to invent them. We had to forecast them. I had to be Saibaba. And I had to look into the future. And I had to think, what risks will make this project go bad? But in an agile approach, I do not forecast, I measure. I am the world champion in metrics. I'm going to take a 1-year project, compress it down to 30 days, and all of these things that come out, I'm just going to start documenting them. Okay, team, fix this. Because if you don't fix this, we won't be able to go live, and I know because we just did it. This is not my invention of risk management. It is what we measured. I have more risk when I have all of the requirements, all the architecture, all development, all the testers. Guess what? The requirements people, they were late. The architecture people, they took some extra time too because they like to talk. And the programmers, who knows what the programmers do? But they only just got a build last week, and now we have to do 3 months of testing in 1 week. So tell your spouse and your children that you will not be seeing them for 1 week. Bring your cot to the office and save our project. Now you are being held accountable for everyone else's mistakes. Instead, what if we did it this way? What if we did a little bit of requirements, a little bit of analysis, a little bit of development, a little bit of test, and then again, and then again. Agile experts will criticize you. They will tell you that this is mini waterfall. That's not agile. Actually, I have 3x less risk than most projects. Thank you very much. Leave me alone. Show me how many other projects in this organization have 3x less risk. On the other hand, if we continue to improve and we push the envelope and we are aggressive about it, we can go to even less requirements, even less analysis, design, and test for one feature only. One feature only. Because if I do all the analysis for 200 features, that is bulk discount, bulk inventory. Instead, I'm only going to be delivering one feature because my customers value features, they don't value the architecture document. And then I do the next feature, and I do the third feature. Analysis dev, you know what? It slipped. We didn't finish that third feature. But that's okay. Because before, when we were slipping on the test, all 10, all 12, all 20 features completely slipped. But in this approach, this is signed off, this is signed off, only one batch did not make the deadline. Agile project management fundamentally reduces the risk by delivering early and often, identifying integration, deployment, interactivity, cross-functional risks, constraints, and then measuring them and then escalating them. Also, you're getting more product feedback cycles. If you get sign-off here, whereas before you could only get sign-off here, your customer now knows much earlier what they want. Now, also with respect to delivery, we do all the requirements, all the architecture, all the development, all the tests, and then okay, hurry, cut some corners, we have to go live. And that's the first time anybody sees functionality, and we cut some corners, we have to deliver a patch. An agile approach says, no, I'm just, I only need 30 days to deliver proof of concept. Hello world. But my hello world is going through all the architectural stacks all along the way. It goes to the database, it goes up to the data layer, then it comes into the middle tier, and then it goes over to the business layer, then it goes up to GUI, and hello world. I just validated my enterprise architecture with very little functional value. But that's okay, because the next one, I'm going to have a wireframe that's generated through all those tiers, and then a prototype. And then I keep delivering more and more, and then by the time I've finished half the schedule, I've delivered 80% of the value. That is risk management. from a customer perspective, they're not incurring the risk of delayed ROI. They're getting faster ROI with their investment. Now, somebody said, help me make the business case to management. And here it is. I want you to write down this website here or circle it. However, on average, Agile projects are statistically significant, 16% more productive. What's more interesting is that 80% of the team members feel more productive. They're more engaged, which means that they're probably innovating more. Even if they're not more productive based on the measurements, they're feeling like they're contributing more. Time to market, industry average. Yes, some Agile projects are taking more time. And this one also taking more time. But on the average, 37% faster time to market. But again, the team members, everyone feels faster. Everyone feels that before we were only waiting a year to see a demo. Now, every 2 weeks we're seeing something. Team members are feeling more productive. Also, quality. 63% quality improvement on average. Almost all the time, you will get at least a 10% improvement on quality. Specifically, here's one that you can, ePlan Services is a company that has offices in Hyderabad. And there's a case study there that in 9 months, the company's Agile implementation reduced their defects per 1,000 lines of code by 70%. How many of you would love to have 70% fewer defects coming into your inbox? I would. I would. Oh, and as a result of feeling more productive, feeling more valuable, having higher quality, employee satisfaction doubles, as it did at Salesforce.com. They doubled the number of people that said, this is the best job I've ever had. I don't want a show of hands on this one, but ask yourself, do I currently have the best job I have ever had? No. Customer satisfaction. Hey, customer, how would you like to improve your ability to manage priorities? Yes, that happened for us. Yes, it really happened. Improve project visibility, alignment of IT and business goals, reduce project risk. This data is all available for download from this website, and then you can put this PowerPoint into your own template, and then you can show it to your managers at lunch next Monday. Can I get some people who are agreeing to that action item? It's completely in your hands. The data is there. The data is there. So if it's such a solid business case, why is everyone not doing this? Because it's hard. This is extremely hard to do. Remember, we were trained to do everything differently? And now you're telling me, Jesse, in a 4-hour seminar, I'm supposed to go back and change all the business processes, all the project management processes? Why? Maybe I can just keep the status quo. Well, if you do, then you might be like Mr. Toyota. Did you remember hearing a couple years back that there were some quality problems at Toyota? Well, it turns out that that's a pattern. Jim Collins, business professor from Stanford, wrote a book called Good to Great. All of these great companies in the 90s who outperformed the industry by 5x, 10x. And then some of those companies not doing so well anymore. Fannie Mae, which is the home loan company. Circuit City, which is a electronics retail company in the US, gone. So people said, okay, Mr. Jim Collins, business professor, good to great. These companies are not so great anymore. So he quickly wrote another book, How the Mighty Fall. And in this book, he says there's one thing, and that is arrogance, hubris, overconfidence. Oh, we're Toyota. We could not possibly have a quality problem. So go away, Mr. Manager. We're Lehman Brothers. We could not possibly have a credit problem. We're Airbus. We couldn't possibly have any problems with our new A380 engine. Or we're CMMI level 5. We couldn't possibly have any project management problems. We have 50% of our project managers are PMP certified. We couldn't possibly have any execution problems. It is hard. In fact, because of that, the founder of the Scrum methodology says that most companies will not get the benefits of Agile. All those benefits, improved productivity, improved time to market, improved satisfaction of your customers and your employees, quality, none of that will happen because you're not willing to put in the effort. You're not willing to confront your management. You confront your executives that everything that they've told you to do is what's causing the defects. Everything that they told you to do is what's causing the delays and the slippage. It's extremely hard. I tell people who come to my training, when you come to my training, your life will not be easier. Your life will be harder. Because now, you have achieved enlightenment. You are like the Buddha. You came into a sanctuary filled with wonderful nature and environments, and you were filled with the truth, and you saw, and you achieved enlightenment. You see the truth, but then you go out into a corrupt world filled with corrupt people who do not appreciate the truth, and then they kill you. So, it is very, very hard. How does it work? How does it work? There are some technical definitions I've given you in your handout about this Scrum methodology. Here's another tip, by the way. If you want to start a fight with an Agile expert, then tell them that you are using Agile methodology. Agile is not methodology. Scrum is not methodology. Oh, are there defined roles? Yes. Is there a sequential process flow? Yes. So it's a system of predefined tasks that are then, yeah, that's the dictionary definition of methodology. No, it's not. It's not true. So instead, don't even use the word. Instead, you can use the word framework. Here's a tip. If you run into one of the board members from PMI, ask them, hey, I'm having some difficulties. Can you explain to me whether PMBOK is a methodology? PMBOK is not a methodology. No, it is not. It is a framework. That's my tip to you. Okay, so there are many Agile frameworks, methodologies, in the industry today. But far and away, the most popular one is Scrum. Agile practitioners self-report that 75 to 80% of all Agile projects are using this Scrum framework. So I've given you the specific notes of what the Scrum framework is. It is a lightweight methodology. It fits only on a small number of slides. It is not RUP. RUP, you have to be buying several books. For this, we're going to go very quickly. We have time boxes, fixed time to do things. And each time box answers a specific question. How often can we deliver something? In the 90s, the standard was about 1 month. Today, it is very popular to say we will do 2-week iterations, 2-week increments. There's no official formula, except that whatever timeline you choose, stick to it. Never slip the time box. And then at the beginning of each project phase, we do some release planning. When are we going to deliver these things? What are our milestones? And then at the beginning of each phase, each iteration, we do iteration planning. Scrum uses some funny words, some funny terms, but that's okay. How many of you found that when you first started studying the PMBOK that you found the terminology to be very straightforward and natural? Is this what you learned in school? Is phase gates and cost performance index? Yeah, that's very easy. I know what that is. So why are you surprised that there are these funny terms in Agile that you have to learn? So that's one thing to consider. These are the questions that each of these time boxes answer, and this is how it works. At the beginning of a project, we do some project planning, identify what are the key phases. At the beginning of each phase or milestone, we define what scope we're going to deliver at the end of that release. A release could be into a focus group. A release could be into a test environment. A release can be into the market. But before we go into those releases, we have the immediate iteration to plan. And then, after we plan that iteration, every single day we're having a daily stand-up meeting, very quickly, just to review what our previous work plan for the day was, and what our current work plan for the day is. Agile myth number 5. Agile means no planning. Really? I do more planning than you do. I do it every day. I do it at 4 different tiers. I have a multi-tiered planning architecture. And I do it real time. I never stop planning. I plan to replan. I am the greatest planner of all time. At the end of each iteration, we have a demo, a review where the customer reviews our deliverables, provides feedback, confirms we met the expectations. This is verification and validation at the same time. Customer verifies whether we met the success criteria, and then validates with himself, did I give them the right requirements? Maybe I should tell them to do something different because we need some other. And then at the end, we have a lessons learned meeting. Now, traditionally speaking, when do we have our lessons learned meeting in traditional project environments? At the end. Each day. Each stage. Lessons learned meeting at each stage, and those stages are traditionally, yeah. Okay. At the each major phase, something, yeah, and usually at the end, yeah? All right? And what are some names for these lessons learned meeting that we have at the end of projects? Post-mortem. Why? Because we are dead. Here's an idea. Let's have our lessons learned meeting right now so that we can learn the lessons right now so that we can get better and reduce the risk right now. Rather than waiting for somebody else on another project to have the benefit of all of your pain, how about you benefit personally from your own pain? These are how the project cycles work. We have 3 key artifacts, which is a backlog of the features, a backlog of the action items, and then we have a chart that measures our progress on those backlogs. Here's how a burn down chart works. Oh, by the way, PMI headquarters in Philadelphia, USA, they're using Scrum for all their IT. It's our secret. It's our secret. This is a burn down chart of action items. For the current iteration, which is 5 weeks long, this is the work that we have to do, and that red line is the trend. Anybody think this might look a little bit like an EVM? Right? I've got my planned work right here. I've got my target schedule here, and now these are my actuals. I have this amount of work still remaining. Hey, look, team, we're off schedule. We have more work remaining than the ideal. Before we hit this deadline, we need to make a change. Maybe we change our design. Maybe we do less over-engineering. Maybe we negotiate with the customer to have some different criteria. And then look at this, in the span of 2 days, they dropped by 10% the overall task action items that they had to achieve the current deadline. This is what a burn down chart is. A burn down chart is simply an agile format of EVM. 3 specific roles and responsibilities. These are not career paths. These are not your job designations. There are no university degrees for product owner. There are no university degrees for Scrum Master. There are no university degrees for team member. These are roles. These are roles. Sometimes you are a mentor. Sometimes you are apprentice. That is not a career path. That is not a job designation. That is not a university degree. And at the beginning of the current sprint iteration, He picks one of those, or two of those, or three of those, and says, this is our goal for the next deadline. The next deadline would be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, anywhere between the recommended range of 1 week to 6 weeks. That is the recommended range. Anything less than 1 week becomes very difficult to do from a technical perspective. Anything more than 6 weeks, chalte. I have so much of time. So that's what you want this deadline to be. And then we have the team. The team analyzes the current set of functionality that needs to be delivered and generates a sprint backlog of action items. What do we need to do to accomplish this? Well, we need to have a meeting with the architecture team, and then we have to modify the middle tier. We also need to automate some testing here. I think we have about 10 action items totaling maybe something like 70 man-hours. And then the team begins to execute on that work every single day. We're doing that work. Here, the recommendation 1 to 4 weeks. I encourage people, if you cannot do 4 weeks, fine, go ahead, start with 6 weeks and move down. That's what PMI did. PMI started with 5-week iterations and are now down to 2-week iterations. And every single day, we're having a daily stand-up. We're updating our plan, remember? Updating our plan. Every day, collaborating, cross-functional testers, engineers, architects, tech writers, customers, all working together every single day. If it's video conference, if it's VoIP phone, if it's chat, if it's email, every single day. And then at the end, we have software. Software, another increment of our final product, which could be shipped if we wanted it to, because it has all the quality that we need. 0 defects. 0 defect software. It is possible. I've done it. I was on a military project several years back, and I was experimenting with test-driven development, where I would write my automated unit tests first, so that I would have a target. If I'm shooting a gun at a target, I have to know what I'm shooting at, else I will never miss, else I will never hit. Yeah, well, if I'm just shooting, oh, I'm not missing anything. I'm just shooting whatever but I want to hit my target. That's what automated tests allow me to do. And I wrote some more, and I wrote some more, and I wrote some more, and I was the only one on the team to have 0 defects. The general rule of thumb is about 1 line of code for about 1 line of test. If you looked at my metrics, on the other hand, I was a little bit too carried away. It's about 5 lines of test for 1 line of code. Not very efficient at all, but 0 defects. So you can strike that balance and get to a potentially shippable product increment that is ready to go if we need to, if the business case allows us. Oh, change request. Change request. Here comes coupons. But that's not a problem, because the only time change requests are allowed to be worked on is after the next round of planning in the next iteration. We do not take change requests in the middle of the current phase, middle of the current iteration. You will have to wait another 4 weeks, Mr. Customer. We will not suffer the consequence of your failure to plan. I am not suffering the consequence of your failure to plan. I am in execution, and you are the person who is responsible for defining the proper product. Okay, we're going to defer the PMBOK talk because we have to see how all of this works together. So here's what's going to happen. All of you are now going to be working on a project team. Specifically, all of you. Each table is going to be a project team. Each table has 6 workers, and if you have any missing chairs, please fill them in. But each table here has 6 workers, and each table has we have a requirements engineer, we have an architect, we have a development team, and we have some testers, some tech writers. We have a tech writer, and we have a deployment engineer. We have a fully staffed, fully skilled project team. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be processing features. These features are coins. Please do not steal my money. All of you are well-compensated professionals. So what you have, each project team is going to be given a scope, a project scope of 20 features, represented by 20 coins. To process each feature, the requirements engineer, when I say go, ready, set, go, the requirements engineer, he will take this coin and process it from a requirements engineering perspective. The way you process your requirements is flip the coin. Just flip the coin. It's a metaphor. It's meant to demonstrate workflow and work activity. I know, just it's an exercise. Okay? And then after you process all 20 of your features, sign off, hand off to the architect. And the architect, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to process all of this batch of 20 features and generate the best architecture. And then sign off, hand off to engineering, who will build the full batch of 20 features, and so on, and so on, and so on, and that is the project's life cycle. Each project team must also comply with the methodology. So we have a team, if the team can stand. These are our process quality assurance engineers who will be supervising all of our workers to make sure that you are compliant with the methodology. So if you could come, if you remember your table number, just come up to each table. Now, that's one side of things. What we also need, because we can't just trust these people. We can't trust these. So congratulations, all of you have been promoted to manager. Please stand. Please stand. All of you have been promoted to manager. And your unique qualification of being a manager is you. You have the ability to measure time so that you know exactly how lazy the workers are. So what we need 6 of you to come over here. Just one moment. Actually, yeah, 6 of you to come over here and stand directly behind your workers. Just one moment. We're going to use these people as an example. So just one moment. Okay. So now what we have is, we have the requirements manager. We have the architect manager. We have the engineering manager. Test manager, documentation manager, deployment manager. Now we can be assured these people will not be surfing Facebook. Correct? Now, what each manager is going to do is measure the total work time for their team. Total work time for their team. So when I say go, the requirements manager will start his clock, and the requirements engineer will start his work. Flip, 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 flip. Oh, by the way, one hand. Flip, 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 flip. Sign off, hand off the batch of 20 to the architecture team. Requirements manager stops his clock, and then the new manager receiving the work starts his clock. So he will be measuring the work time for his person. Okay? And this continues on and continues on. You work, sign off, hand off to the next team member, and then stop the clock when your team stops working and start the clock when they begin. Okay? Now, we have 2, 3 additional people that are not yet managers. Congratulations. Congratulations, you have been promoted to executive. So please come over here. For the executives, what we have the vice president. What's your name? Raju. Congratulations on your promotion. You are now vice president of service delivery. And he will be measuring the total time of the entire project. When I say go, when the first batch begins to when the last batch is ending. Total work time, total time to complete the project. And he cares about that because that is when we can invoice and generate revenue. And then we also have, your name? Sheikh. Sheikh is the most esteemed customer. And Sheikh will be measuring the total time for the first batch to be completed. Right now we are having only one batch of 20 features. So for the beginning, the two of you will be measuring about the same thing. Yeah? Total time to complete the project is a project of one batch. Total time to complete one batch is only one batch right now. Then we will make some changes, and we will see what will happen. So you have your you have your Agile experts here at the end of the table, and what they're going to do is help you arrange your teams. It's going to be crowded, but that's okay, because people tell me in India, there's no problem if we get up a little bit close and start working together, yeah? So, can I ask the managers and the executives to come to their work teams and then work with your quality assurance person to identify who has a stopwatch, who should be a manager, stopwatch person, and who will be a worker, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we have a third executive. I've lost. Yeah, I've lost. It's too late. Third executive, PMO, the metrics. Metrics. So if you are not customer or vice president, then talk to your quality assurance person about being the metrics person. Okay. Hold on. Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention? Shh. Thank you. Thank you. Those of you sitting are workers. Those of you standing are taking metrics. If you are not the customer and you are not the table number 2. If you are not the vice president or the customer, then you are the third executive, who is the PMO director, and you will be taking the worksheet from your Agile expert, and he will be giving you the worksheet where you will be writing down all the metrics that the managers tell you. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. Managers, I want you to watch the time and stop talking. Okay, watch the time. Remember, also watch the work. You may only use one hand, flipping one coin at a time. Okay, here's another thing. This is a scientific experiment. Cleverness is not the key. I've had some people put all the coins in their hand and say, okay, ready? Huh? It's a 1, 2, 3, boom. No, this is a scientific experiment. Please flip the coins properly. Also, managers, watch the time of your team only, when they start working, when they stop working. Same thing executive, same thing customer. PMO director, if you have the worksheet, you'll be writing down the metrics when I say. Okay? When I say, you will be writing down the metrics. Everybody ready? Set. Mr. Requirements Engineer, go. Work. Who's his manager? Goodness gracious.
These are on a 6-week sprint.
Yeah, that's right.
The questions, when do we give it to you? During the lunch hour?
Yeah, you can give me the questions, or you can give them to any one of the ladies. Okay, so who's tracking the data for this team? You are? And your name? Gagan. Gagan. Okay, so PMO director. PMO director, here's your job. Requirements what was the requirements manager's time? 26? 36. 36. The design manager? 47? 27. Development manager? Test manager? Documentation manager? 50. Deployment manager? 35 again. Okay. So now we know who should be promoted and who should be sacked. Okay, so total time to complete the project from start to finish? Four minutes, 21 seconds? Okay, so that's how many? 261. And the time to market of the first batch, there's only one batch, so it is the same, 261. Okay, I'm going to leave this blank for now, and I'm going to say, if you have not already reported your data to the project management, to the PMO director, please do. Everybody have their data? Okay, so you see a pattern here. Some people, yeah. Okay. Here's, so what we've done is we've, as an organization, we've hired a very expensive management consultant to observe your work in progress. And here's what I have observed. I've observed some things, and I have some recommendations. Would you like to hear my recommendations? Okay. Jaldi karo. You people are too slow. Look at this. What is... why are you even using this? Just flip it on the table. And then what is this? Flip it one time. Go. Jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. You people are too lazy. Look at these numbers. This is a disgrace. People should be working harder. Now, please pay my invoice. Okay, so we're going to do that same thing over again, only this time I want to see how quickly each person can flip the coins, how quickly each person can transfer the coins. Okay, same exact project. So, shift all the coins back to the requirements engineer. Ready? Set. Everybody ready? Set. Go. Okay. Flip, 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 flip. We're done. Okay. Back. Yes, yes, yes. Very good, very good. Excuse me. Requirements. Hold on, I hear coins. $34. $24. $32? Somebody got worse. $32. Development. Test. Documentation. Deployment. Total time. 220, and then the time to market is the same, 220. Okay, so if I look at this, I have so here's what we are learning. That that there are some, when we have management pressure, we have some overperformers who are going from 36 to 24, and we have some underperformers who do not respond very well to pressure, who are getting worse and then getting worse. Okay? But from an overall perspective, the project is getting better. So it is a good thing that you hired an expensive Westerner to give lots of management pressure. Okay? Here's the problem. All of you are lying to me. All of you are lying. These are not the correct metrics because 1, 2, 1 minute, 1, 2, 2 minutes, 1, 2, 3 minutes. If I add all of these together, this is not 220. Can you tell me the total of your team? Hmm? $197. Now, all of you will see a pattern for your team that is exactly the same. If I total all of my team times so that I have a total billable time, 197 seconds, which is less than the time to complete the project. What's wrong? What's happening here? Microphone? Yes, on.
Hand off from one person to the other person receiving it, that's probably is what is causing this delay.
Oh, okay. So we have clean measurements here from the managers. But when it comes to the overall project duration, we have handoffs, which are causing delays. Oh, okay, okay. So handoffs are expensive. I want to do an experiment. I want to double the number of handoffs, and surely the project will suffer. Does that make sense? Okay. And the reason I'm doing this is because I am an advocate of empirical process control. Some of you remember process control from the PMBOK, right? Quality control and quality assurance. What if is our process out of control? Is it under control? So I'm going to do empirical process control. I'm going to measure, do an experiment and measure the results. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change from one batch of 20, now we are doing 2 batches of 10. So what that means is the requirements engineer, he will flip 10, sign off, hand off to the engineering team, or to the architecture team, and the requirements clock is continuing to tick. Requirements managers, I don't care first batch, second batch. I want total work time for your person. Okay, it should be the same. It should be mostly the same. 1 batch of 20, 2 batches of 10, it should be the same. Okay, now, vice president, same as before, total project time. Customer, now you are measuring first batch only. Okay? First batch only. And then I don't care about the second batch for the customer. Okay? Ready? Okay, so, okay. Raise your hand if you're still working. Okay, so requirements team. 2-9. Design.
3-1.
3-1. Development.
22.
22. Test.
Sorry, 32.
32.
44.
44.
49.
49.
36.
36. Total time to complete? What?
Hold on.
Total time to complete.
144.
That's the vice president? Okay, vice president, 144. Customer, how long did you have to wait for the first batch? 135? 125. 125. Okay. And then what is the total cost? Total billable time?
211.
Okay. So here's the pattern. If you follow the instructions, then what would happen is as soon as the requirements engineer finishes the first batch, he begins working on the second batch immediately. So that while he is working on the second batch of requirements, the architect is working on the first batch of architecture. And then when he's working on the second batch of architecture, the first batch of coding is being done, development. Correct? Okay. So here's the pattern. All of you got worse on your teams. Here, the requirements person is worse, development is worse, test is worse, documentation, oh, a little bit better, finally. Design, about the same. But as a result of this, our total billable time has gone up by about 5%. But we've reduced our time to complete the project. How is this possible? I hear someone needing a microphone.
Parallel activity.
Parallel activity?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because 2 people were working simultaneously.
2 people were working simultaneously?
Yes.
But what were they doing before?
Idle.
Waiting. Waiting. Waiting, waiting, waiting. Waiting is the #1 cause of all project delays. I'm waiting for the requirements to come and then I can do the design. I am not permitted to do any coding or any development without the official the architecture. So I am just sitting doing proof of concept of something that does not matter. And I'm not permitted to do any testing until I have a build. I cannot do any testing. So instead, I will document all the tests that I will do in the future, but whatever I'm doing, I'm not testing. And then the deployment people, well, let's just make them do patches. And then maybe they will do some more. The waiting, we're all just waiting for sign-off from somebody else to do our job. And as a result, the project experiences delays. Here, this is going down. On the other hand, our costs have gone up. Our costs have gone up a little bit. So remember my hypothesis. My hypothesis was more handoffs cause problems. I have inconclusive data. My data is telling me it is better in some places and it is worse in other places. Okay? So we need to do one final experiment, and we need to do it quickly because lunch is getting cold. we're going to do 20 batches of 1. We're going to go the extreme example so that we can see a trend. Now, all of you are project managers, so of course you believe that you understand that, that the trend is what matters. So, 20 batches of 1. As soon as the as soon as the requirements engineer processes 1 coin, the architect picks it up and processes it, the engineer picks it up and processes it, and so forth. So, it is going to be very aggressive. Managers, you are still measuring total work time for your team. Total billable time. Okay? So, and customers, you're going to measure total time to complete the first batch of 1 coin. Okay, customers, first batch. Customers, first batch of 1 coin. Ready? Who is not ready? Raise your hand. 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 Ready? Ready? Set. Ready? Set. Go. Okay, I hear coins. I hear coins. Okay, so team number 1, analysis. Oh.
Analysis 32.
No, if there's, are you done? You done?
Analysis 32.
Can I have everyone's attention? This is the grand finale. This is the grand finale. Let us see what the data reveals. Requirements is 32.
Design 32 again.
Okay.
Development 31.
Okay.
Testing 33.
Okay.
Document 49. Deployment 49.
Total time to complete?
50. No, that's not correct. No, hold on.
Mr. Vice President, are you sure? 59. Time to market?
11.
Okay. So, here's the, and then don't tell me what the total cost is just yet. I want you to calculate the total cost, and then we'll get to it. Everybody, if you are talking, you are preventing your colleagues from learning the material. Thank you. Here's the pattern. Worse, same, a little bit better, a little bit same, and a lot bit worse. Again, inconclusive. But if we look relative to the batch of 20, a batch of 1 yields significantly more effort, same, more, and a little bit less. Well, we know this person is a problem, right? But then from 20 to 49, the first batch we discard. This was my control group. This was my control group just so that we could learn the process. And this is your ramp up round, right? Your learning curve, your ramp up and learning the process. But the pattern is this, that as the batch size goes smaller, the time that each team member takes is more. The time that each team member takes is more, but the total time to complete the project is dramatically less. This is a 4x improvement. You're delivering the project, in 40% of the time. This is a 60% improvement in time to complete. Okay? On the other hand, we have a 20x improvement on time to market. Okay? So, the pattern is this. The pattern is that these people are getting worse, but the project is getting better. Who's happy about this project? Who else? Management. Management is happy because we can generate more revenue faster. And by that management, I mean senior management, CEO, COO, they're happy about that. Okay? On the other hand, all of these people have performance appraisals. Who is not happy about, who wants to be agile? Who does not want to be agile? Let me ask the team members. Those of you who are working, those sitting over here, which batch did you like, felt the best? Which batch felt the best? Was it the last one or the first one? Was it the last one? Neither? Okay. This team is saying that the last batch felt the best. Which team disagrees? No? All of you really enjoyed that last one? I have some people tell me, no, that last one, it was too stressful. Just leave me alone. Right? Just leave me alone. On one case, doing a batch of 20, it was boring. But doing a batch of 1 is too stressful. Okay? Now, who else is not liking this besides the workers? It's the managers. Because their performance plan, their compensation plan is driven by this number. So tell me, why is that happening? What's going on here? Why is it that the project time to complete is so much better? The time to market I understand, right? It's just smaller batch size and the increment 1, 2, 3. That I understand. I do not understand why time to complete is so much faster and my total team time is so much higher. What's happening? Microphone.
All 6 are working in parallel. All 6 working. Yeah, the last one is like all 6 people. Yeah, all 6 people working in parallel. There is waiting time is very less.
So
once the first lot reaches the last guy, everybody is working. So
everyone is working together, working at the same time. So what happened is more handoffs are there, which creates more parallel processing, less waiting. But then why are these so high? Handoffs. Oh, the handoffs. More collaboration, more handoffs, more cost. What is the total cost of this project? Okay, 226. What is that? That's 10%? Okay. Agile myth number 6. Agile means cost cut. No. Our billable time increased by 10%. But our time to complete the project, our time to generate the revenue, our cash flow improved 60%. And our time to market was 20x. So who wants to be agile? Senior management and the customer. Who will be fighting you when you go back to the office to start using the agile techniques? Who will be fighting you? The line managers, some of the team members who are like, no, leave me alone. I don't like working with people. So this is what the data tells us about productivity and about time to market and about cost. There is a trade-off. There is a trade-off. Now, all of you are having a lot of questions. I encourage you to come ask me, write them down, because lunch is getting cold. When we come back exactly at 1:30, we will begin talking about some of these considerations, okay?